All right, we are live.
Here we go. Episode 24, is it?
Ooh, we are. That's exactly where we are, actually.
That's like
Episode
Namdi.
24, and
That's like Namdi Asamoah numbers right there.
you think that Namdi Asamoah is the best number 24?
No, he's just the biggest letdown that I know at number 24. So,
Yeah, man, you guys paid out the wazoo for that guy, and it did not
uh,
a good
no,
thing.
it was the dream
He went to the
team.
49ers next year. I'll keep that.
Yeah, you win. All right, man. So here we are. It's beautiful, man. We're entering into the playoff season. A lot of you guys are it's Monday night, so you're probably watching this game if you got some players involved. And it's crunch time, baby.
Oh, I'm sweating it so hard right now. My big money league, I guess you could say my league of record, up 2 points right now as the Bengals and the Steelers are playing. And I have Chris Boswell, and it's a one-person IDP league, so it's full offensive fantasy with one individual defensive player. Perfect. So I am sweating very, very badly right now. Sweating bad.
It's all good. It is all good. Man, I just want to throw out some love to Full Press Coverage. Ever since they've been dropping their stuff on Twitter and that website's gone up, just going to say that has been a website that's been dedicated to content and no flub. It's been great.
Man, I'll tell you this. So I am writing currently for their fantasy football section. Also still writing for Eat Sleep Fantasy. Love those guys. Always need to give them a shout out. But I'm also writing for their 49ers section. And I'm now a contributor on their NFL draft section. So
Woo!
I am almost a full-time writer that spends way too much time. My wife can attest to that. But this site is legit. It's got it all. And as we get into news and notes, I want to kind of link you guys up with a certain article. And this is Gronkowski got a huge suspension. He had one of the dirtiest plays I have ever seen. And I hate the Patriots, but I love Gronk.
Yeah.
I love everything that guy is.
Yep.
But he rightfully got suspended for one game.
Yep.
Where we're at now.
So do you think that was enough of a suspension? I saw a lot of people out there saying they didn't think it was enough.
I can tell you this. If the NFL has a major issue with suspensions, and then you're going to put this on, because here's the thing. Tre'Davious White, I mean, he's a candidate for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He is playing like a top 5 corner for the Bills and is just awesome. And you put in an unnecessary concussion, man. I think 2 games would have been set a precedent, but 1 game, it's what it is. Now, what do we do as fantasy football players with Gronk out first week of the playoffs?
Yeah, we're in trouble. Talk to us a little bit about what Ian Glendon's article talked about.
I strongly recommend, if you haven't already, his tag name on Twitter is iGlenn, GLEN 31, so iGlenn 31, and he just put up this new article for full press coverage, and he goes through and breaks down the Patriots practice reports, who's getting snaps, so on and so forth. Now, obviously, Dwayne Allen is going to be the guy, but having said that, if you want to jump in to those kind of deep leagues, whatever else, there's an undrafted free agent that is getting snaps there. Remember, Martellus Bennett's on IR. So he would be the guy to plug in and play there, but he's out.
Yeah.
And it's Jake. So undrafted free could be one of those moments where you start this guy and he picks up, gets a touchdown, so on and so forth, and you move on to fantasy glory. But if you have Gronk, hopefully you have another option, and we'll go over some waiver wire targets later. But those are 2 options there. So just throwing that out.
So remember, though, that I already predicted like fantasy – like basically apocalypse. Now Gronk is out, and then on top of that, my main man Zach Ertz is in concussion protocol. It's scary,
man. I'll tell, and that's the thing. I will say this: I have Gronk in 1 league, and I made a huge trade when David Johnson got hurt. I was able to swap David Johnson for Gronk in 2 separate leagues.
Wow!
In one of those leagues, I have a first-round bye. So this isn't going to affect me whatsoever, which is great. And the other one, I do not. And so I am going to be plugging and playing. And one of my key players that I want is Zach Ertz backup option. I do not think that he is going to be back. Again, they played the late night game, which I understand it's only a difference of about 7 hours playing in the early game Sunday versus the Sunday night game, but it matters.
Yeah.
This is 100% just a time issue. And we are seeing the NFL these concussion things more and more serious. Do not think that Zach Ertz plays. And why would you play him? Why would you rush him back whenever you have a 4-game lead over your division? So the backup there is key, and that's Trey Burton. That's somebody I want to get.
Yep. A guy who has taken a while to develop in the league, but he is a hidden gem of the Eagles team, as well as Brent Selleck, who is a guy who's reduced his salary to be on the team and is basically a right tackle who can catch. So it's okay. The Eagles will be fine. But a part of that apocalypse, Matthew Stafford hurt his intimacy hand, his throwing hand.
So, this is not the first time we've seen this, right? So, last year, Matthew Stafford hurt his hand and he had to wear that throwing glove and his numbers went to garbage. So, what happened this game is he didn't really get hit. Terrell Suggs stepped on his hand, and you got a couple of cool shots if you were watching the game. And, I mean, it was bloody. It looked like his hand was pregnant. It was so swollen. Now, there's no bone damage, and he's going to try to play through it. But having said that, like, this is a big deal.
Yep.
You've got to do a huge step down to everybody except for the running backs, namely Theo Riddick. I think Theo Riddick is going to be a wonderful, wonderful play late down the season, especially with that Amir injury. We don't know how long he's going to be out.
Yeah, and I would say, too, as I kind of broke down things last week, that the Lions had the easiest schedule to the playoffs, while exactly while the NFC South beat up on each other, and the Lions squeak in. So that's no longer a thing. Obviously, Seattle winning puts them in a better position to make that wild card, and the Lions are out. I mean, that's how I feel. And it's Golden Tate down. It's Marvin Jones down. It sucks. It's the apocalypse. It's coming. I told you about it. Anyways,
this is one of those years where it's just get in. If you just get in, whether that's a 5 or a 6 seed, and you just barely eke in on a tie break, like, this is going to be your year, because there is no clear cut in the strength of schedule down the back hall. I mean, injuries. If you're in the playoffs, it is a coin flip.
Yeah, real quick, shout out. I'm not just giving John a reach around here, but shout out to John in my league, because this dude went through injury hell in the beginning, and people in my league were making fun of John, myself included. And
it's warranted.
The thing is,
it's warranted.
The guy has climbed back. He's our first week of playoffs was this week. He beat his guy. Now he's in the semifinals. Congrats. But
yeah, I appreciate it. And it just goes to show you back to, we talk about the draft and how it doesn't matter who your first round pick is. You're not going to win the draft. I've been on record here. I drafted and traded up in certain rounds. 6 out of 8 leagues, I drafted David Johnson. 6 out of 8. And my other 2, I went with Odell. Both of them were out. And so I can honestly say right now, pending this Chris Boswell field goal, which it's good. It is good. So I'm now up 6 points. If I win this, I will have made the playoffs in every single league this year. So I would have made, again, first round draft pick, Odell Beckham twice. And in my other ones, I got David Johnson. So just saying, like, keep in mind, like, it's a grind and you just stay at it. And once you get in the playoffs, you got a chance. So I appreciate the shout out, Chuck. Thanks.
Absolutely. And next on the apocalypse that I'm trying to tell folks about, and they don't know what's going to happen to them when they die tomorrow. Anyways, Tyrod Taylor carted off the field.
It's probably, like, here's the deal. So we could say this now, like, there were no structural damage. Like, he's okay. Yeah. But it's probably the best case situation. Tyrod, like, the Bills do not deserve Tyrod Taylor. So they put in Peterman, and, hey, I'll give it off to Peterman. He threw 0 interceptions, which is 5 less than he threw the last time he was out there. But if I was Tyrod, man, I would just go this season out and hit free agency. The Bills do not deserve you. I doubt we'll see him again. I think they got to move they just got absolutely destroyed by the Patriots. So I think that's kind of over for them.
Does anybody deserve a fairy tale ending more than Tyrod Taylor? I mean, I'm sorry. He worked himself from a third string, second string into a starter with an extension contract playing. I mean, listen, is he the best guy ever? He's not, but he's a quality starter in this league.
Go to Miami and go to Miami.
No, go to Jacksonville next year because as much as I love Bortles, I mean, come on, Tyrod Taylor would beat him out in a competition and go win a Super Bowl. I hope so. All right, Antonio Brown, he's doing the damn thing right now.
He sure is, and he's balling out already. So, but this is just one of those things that you never know, and you always want to give yourself backup options as you move through things because, man, he sent out a picture of his toe, which I put on Twitter reluctantly. It was terrible. It was very I'm not a feet guy. It grossed me the hell out. But like he's going through some issues with his feet, and you never know when these things are going to spring up. So just keep watch and pay attention. And more importantly than just paying attention, take advantage of other people's misfortunes. I went and picked up what's it called? Martavis Bryant was out on a waiver wire in one league, and I'm playing against Antonio Brown, and so I had him just in case. Look, it didn't pan out the way I did, but if it did, I'm just saying, you always got to outmaneuver your opponent.
Okay. We have to do something because this is John, his part of his podcast. We have to talk about
we have to do this.
Frank the Tank, Frank Gore. Gosh. Now 5th all-time rushing. Congrats, Frank. You deserve it.
And here's how great Frank Gore is. He is currently the number 23 overall running back in fantasy for the year. I mean, it doesn't matter how long he's been playing. This guy's just so special, and you got to give your hat up. You got to lift your hat to him. I mean, he's still an RB2. Yeah, he was the RB12 last year. He's RB23, and he said that he wants to stick it out. So hats off to that guy, man. Amazing year.
I got a controversial question to ask you about him, though.
If it's about the Hall of Fame, the fucking answer is yes.
No. Absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer. My question is, in his career, has he ever been a top 3 back? Has he ever been better? Number one, the answer is no. Has he ever been the best running back in the league in his career?
The best, no. But he had a 2,000-yard season in 2006. Like, here's the thing. You asked that question. I'm not even looking at it. I'm telling you right now. He had over 2,000 yards in 2006. He's had over 1,500 yards 4 times after that. So I'm just saying, like, longevity is there.
Absolutely. He's a Hall of Famer. Like, no.
Whenever I say 2,000 yards, it's not 2,000 yards rushing. Sorry. It's all-purpose yards. So you have a 2,000-yard season, then that's what's up. Like, we're talking. But the guy has been awesome. There was one year where he had over 12 touchdowns. The guy's just longevity. That's who he is.
Yeah, this just in, Joe Mixon in concussion protocol.
Ooh, man, I hope he doesn't make bad decisions with his life now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, he punches women.
Yeah, no, we got the reference. Anyways.
I hope somebody gets upset that I made fun of Joe Mixon's concussion. Yeah. Please at me on Twitter, JL_Chapman. Tell me how terrible I am because I'm talking about a guy that hits women in the face and I don't care about his concussion. Please.
Holla at me. Anyways, Greg Olsen should be back next week. We told you, don't mess with him. Wait till he shows you something.
That's exactly, man, well said, Chuck. And here's the deal again. Still don't mess with him.
Yeah, no.
You have him on your bench. You do not drop this guy because if you win the first round, and let's just say he goes out and has a 6-catch, 80-yard game and touchdown or no touchdown, who cares? All we're looking for is just snaps and health. Then the following week you start him. Championship play here. You sit that guy on your bench. If whoever owns him in your league got pissed off and dropped him, pick him up.
Right. It's like your cute coworker. You're going to wait until your wife, basically, something happens to her, and then you're going to marry her. But anyways, that's exactly what it's like.
I really hope that this is the episode that my 9-year-old son asks his mom, can we please listen to Dad's podcast, which has happened in the past, and this is the podcast. Awesome. That's your Uncle Charles.
Woo, there he is. My name's Uncle Chuck, and I like that. All right. Waiver wire, baby.
Oh, I see what rhymes with your name. I see what you did there.
Yeah, Kill Bill. Anyways, references. That's a sick reference, bro. All right. Aaron, back in business.
All right. The lists are kind of been hitting around our waiver wires. Now, just because you're in the playoffs, that does not mean you stop churning your roster. No,
Right.
This is the awesome time because it doesn't matter if you're the first seed or second seed. Half of your teams are out, which means even if you're the 11th or 12th priority, you've got to subtract 6 from that. So you can get guys that you normally would, guys that you're thinking, all right, well, everybody's going to put in a claim for this guy. No, they're not. You put in waiver wires for all these key players if you have room. And deeper leagues, you gotta know the format. But here's what's important. Aaron Rodgers is about a week out. He threw a 50-yard bomb in warm-ups the other day, looked to the cameraman and shrugged. Like he is in, and they're in playoff contention right now. So if you look at exactly where they are, like he is coming back. You mean to tell me you can get Aaron Rodgers off of waivers? 40% of leagues. Like he is available.
Yeah.
Some people didn't hold on to him.
Yeah, I've seen him. It's crazy. All right, next up is again another guy we have to talk about. No, we should talk about him.
You should.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo, my savior. I love this man. One, he's easy on the eyes. He comes out and throws for 293 yards in his first start. Several drop passes. He had an interception that was hit his receiver in the hands. I mean, it was ridiculous if you saw it. But this guy's fantasy relevant. One, he's active with his feet. And if he would have thrown one touchdown, he would have been a top 10 quarterback. Who does he have next week? The Houston Texans, who give up the 30 most points to the fantasy quarterbacks. Like he is a outside quarterback one guy. So if you are somebody that ridiculous matchup, so on and so forth, like definitely a guy to pick up. Also, Josh McCown still sitting out there, owned in less than 40% of leagues. Josh McCown is putting together an amazing season.
Yeah, he is. At 38 years old.
It doesn't matter who he plays. He is the number 10 overall quarterback, and his last 2 games, he's putting up 34 points and 28 points. Like
the Jets are just that team you don't want to see right now. You just don't want to see them right now.
I agree with you.
They can kind of mess with. Yeah, they can kind of mess with anybody. They're not a dominant team by any stretch, but these guys, you don't want to see them. When Williams on the beat.
Yeah, man, Kerwin came out and he balled out. Like it was very impressive just how much they just kept feeding him the rock, and he kept doing well with it. And so Adrian Peterson has a neck issue, and what do we do with that? Like, is he going to be playing next week? If you're AP and you're on a team that's probably not going to be making the playoffs, they are 5-7, but he's probably not going to be coming back for this. Now, if you look at the touches, Kerwin Williams had 16 touches in the running game and rushed for 97 yards. Like they're going to continue feeding this man. So why not? Why not go back with the Flames? Again, if you have a running back position where you're just hurting, pick them up, see what happens. Also, Mike Davis is rough for me. Okay. Again, he's a former 49er. I know him very well out of South Carolina. But the problem is his matchup. Guess who the Seahawks have in this upcoming week?
Jacksonville, baby.
Jacksonville Jaguars. You do not start him this week. So if you do pick up Mike Davis, and you should pick him up, but you do not play him. That you're going to wait. That's what you're doing there.
Can I talk just really quickly before we get into our next guy about, again, just something I noticed? I really think that the Seahawks, for their style of play, it is unfreaking real how amazing Russell Wilson is. Oh, my. He is faster Brett Favre. Okay?
Yeah.
He's got the touch pass on lock. Their route tree is stupid. It's different. But here's the thing. You're playing the Eagles one week, which, hey, you balled out on the Eagles. You're playing Jacksonville this week. Russell Wilson got crushed a few times, okay? I'm not so sure back-to-back weeks that one of these guys aren't due for just an actual obliteration, whether it's Baldwin, Jimmy, Russell. He did put them in some precarious situations last night that they got lucky in. I mean, they beat the Eagles fair and square, but there were some times where they should have been eliminated. all I'm saying is I don't know about the longevity of this offense, this scramble, this up in the air, I don't know, Frank Tarkenton type of movement.
Dude, that's awesome going old school. And you're right. He's a more athletic Frank Tarkenton. And it is scary. Now, the addition of Dwayne Brown at left tackle is huge, and I hate the Seahawks, but I love Russell Wilson and the way he plays. Me too. I respect it so much. But, yeah, man, I don't know. It's scary long term. I'll say that. Now, there is one more running back I want to talk about before we get to wide receivers and tight ends, and that's Peyton Barber. Oh, my gosh. This guy had 27 touches in the receiving game and the running game. 102 yards rushing and 4 catches for 41 yards. Like, here's the thing. He looks so good. He's young. I think he's only 24 years old.
Yeah.
Like, why not stay with this guy for a minute and see what he can do, whether Doug Martin comes back or not? Let's see what this guy can do, because this is a better game than Doug Martin had all year as far as 4 for 4 targets for receptions. That guy's a baller. And now let's jump into receiver, and I'm going to turn this one over to you because I know that I know the things that you enjoy in your pastime, which leads us to Josh Gordon. The one and only.
Exactly. So, I just got a bone to pick. That's all. I got a bone to pick that basically nobody gave Josh Gordon any grievance over what I think are some tall tales. I just think that he's been reading a little bit of Paul Bunyan lately. And, you told me a while back about, him drinking before every game and all this different stuff. So real quick, recently said that he made $10,000 every month. Now, here's the thing.
At Baylor. And I can almost like Baylor has never had an issue with athletes selling marijuana. Hashtag Dave Bliss, if you know what I'm talking about. Go look it up. Only bad things happen at Baylor. Baylor's terrible. Anyway, back to you.
But just some quick drug math for you folks out there. So for Josh to make $10,000, not sell $10,000 of weed, let me tell you something.
I've watched Breaking Bad.
Buy 20, yeah, exactly. The Walter White of Baylor. Anyway, so he'd have to buy
not white, really black.
Buy and sell 20 pounds of weed for $1,500, a pound, and then sell each pound for $2,000. He'd be the most diligent, disciplined drug dealer at Baylor has ever seen. He's all time, And you left $10,000 a month of consistent money that you're very good at somehow, And you left that for a life of suspension in the NFL. And it's just like, this guy's so stupid. Let me just a few more things, a few more points.
I did not think you told me that you wanted to do a bit on Josh Gordon. I didn't think this is where we were going, but I'm not at all disappointed. This is so much gold.
I'm just mad that the media completely missed out on an opportunity to call some guy on his bullshit. He's basically doing pillow talk on live air, like, I used to do this, and I used to bench 600 pounds and make $10,000 off of weed. It's like listening to my 4-year-old tell me he's invisible. It's like, okay, I believe you, and we just indulge this guy. And here's the thing, just last point. So either you sold more than $10,000 worth of weed at a low level, or you were a middleman, and the DEA needs to question you immediately. Like, did you just admit to something else and you're ready for a suspension? Would you like to admit to a murder? Information you have about JFK? I'm just saying, that's all.
So let me say this. That's amazing. Man, I had no clue this is where it's going, but I'm not even mad. This is so great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Josh Gordon had 20 pounds of weed on him at all times at Baylor. Please believe that. And he took shots of alcohol before every practice. Is this guy Kenny Powers? Who is this guy?
Yes. I absolutely love it, man. So much greatness. Now, let's take a quick turn and talk about his fantasy relevance.
I feel better.
If you may. What do you think, man? So here's the deal. I don't love Josh Gordon. I think he's interesting, and I kind of want to watch a documentary on him. But
oh my God.
Here's the thing. He had 11 targets which is insane. 4 catches for 85 yards. But here's the deal. He was playing against one of the best, if not the best cornerback in the NFL. And this was the most yards that have gone against Hayward since Odell Beckham last year.
Jeez.
So, like, now we need to understand that Deshaun Kaiser is throwing the ball, so it's going to be sporadic because he throws one of the best passes you can ever see, and then 3 of the worst passes Blake Bortles style.
Yeah.
So it's very up and down.
Hey, stop with those Blake Bortles references, man.
Dude, yeah, he won me. I'll say this. Blake Bortles won me a fantasy playoff game already. So I need to be a little bit nicer. But there's no doubt moving forward, like this is the guy. So this week he's got Green Bay, which gives up the 4th most points. Then he's got Baltimore, which is awful. But then championship week, he's got Chicago. So he's got 2 very favorable matchups. I don't think he's a must start. This week, he is absolutely a must start. We told you to pick up Josh Gordon and wait. He verified what we were hoping for, the ceiling. Now we play this guy.
Yep.
If you were now is the time to start him.
Marquise Goodwin, good load.
Gee whiz, man. The last 2, these next 2 are 49ers. And again, the reason why they're on here is just because of Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, Marquise Goodwin goes out and has 8 catches for 99 yards, and Trent Taylor goes out 6 for 6 for 93 yards. And they were just heavily relied upon, and they just peppered them and peppered them and peppered them with targets. So, having said that, like these 2 guys are fantasy relevant now. Now, are they must starts in every situation? And are they like people that we have to like follow and all that stuff? No. But if you have somebody that's going against a rough matchup, man, plug these boys in because they're consistent pass catchers and the targets are there. There's nobody else to throw the ball to for San Francisco. There's not. And so you definitely got to give these guys a shot.
Quick question, man. And you won't have to spend a ton of time on it, but with Carlos Hyde moving forward, he doesn't look like himself.
He's not. And the one thing that you can say about Carlos Hyde this year is he's getting the receptions, and those are still there, and they're going to be there. But Kyle Shanahan has said over and over and over again, we are going with the hot hand. Carlos Hyde had probably one of his worst rushing games, but the one thing that he did do is he was amazing in blitz pickup. Said that like he is still safe. Is Matt Breida got 12 carries, okay? And Matt Breida looked better than Carlos Hyde in the running game, but you're not moving away from Carlos Hyde. Worst case scenario is he gets 14 carries. That's worst case. Plus he's going to get 3 to 4 catches. So he's a consistent running back 2 with running back 1 upside. If you got him, you're not benching him.
Yeah. All right, moving on to David Njoku.
Ooh, yeah, so here's the tight end thing. There's 2 tight ends that kind of have come back to life that were basically just awful. All of them are completely on your waiver wire, and there's no need for them. Well, number 1 is Cameron Brate. Jameis Winston comes back, and turns out, man, he really likes Cameron Brate. He does not like O.J. Howard. He throws 2 touchdowns to Cameron Brate. Now, remember, when Jameis Winston was in the first 7 to 8 weeks of the season, Cameron Brate was a top 6 tight end. He's back at that again. And the second one is David Njoku. That offense is starting to lose a bit. And he's had back-to-back good games where he has just come out and just balled out. Now, if what happens is that, again, as that offense, you got to remember, they benched Njoku for a lot of plays because he just couldn't compete and he couldn't block and he was making mistakes. Well, guess what? He's starting to figure all this stuff out now. And I mean it whenever I say, like, these are the type of guys that are going to win you fantasy championships because you're not saying, oh, man, that guy's terrible because of this or that. You've got to go make a play with these guys. They're there. And I'm just telling you right now, like 17 points he put up, 8.7 points the week before. And he is a rookie tight end. He's going to have up and down games, but he's got 4 touchdowns on the year. Like, that's a legitimate. He's got the Packers this week and then the Bears in week 16. He's a perfect fill-in for Gronkowski. Absolutely perfect. If he's available, you should be so happy.
Yep. And last guy we already mentioned, Trey Burton. Brent Selleck's going to come in for more blocking than anything, and Trey Burton is going to be a guy who I think that this Rams-Eagles game is going to be higher scoring than what people kind of are predicting. I think I think the Eagles are pissed. I think the Rams are at home, and they're playing very well. And I like him as a tight end option.
Yeah.
All right, man. Playoff strategy, dude. Let's just take us through a few things before you set your lineups this week.
Okay, so number one is don't get cute. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it. Anytime you're making last-minute changes to your roster, you've already screwed up. You need to go in with confidence and go with the guys that got you there. Now, if it's a terrible matchup, if they're played against, it's a running back versus Jacksonville, for instance, or something along those lines, then you need to take into account. Ask questions, man. Oh, one of my favorite Twitter peeps came out and basically asked me some difficult questions last week, and he came out and just said, "Thank you so much." His name's Jay Martin. Said, "Man, what do I do in this situation? Help me understand." I helped him out, and I told him, you need to start Evan Ingram no matter what. And he wanted to go with Ricky Seals-Jones, who's the new super hot guy, whatever. He didn't know what Geno Smith. I told him to start it. He got into the fantasy playoffs just because he listened to basically the advice of me and other people. It's not just me.
Yeah.
Go and ask advice and figure that out and weigh those options. Not that you have to listen to them, but you do that. Now, look at your matchup and figure out, man, am I supposed to get blown out by 40 points this week? Or is it going to be super close? If it's super close, or even if it's just somewhat in between, go with the less risky plays. The fantasy playoffs is not the time for home run swings. This is Tony Gwynn. Be Tony Gwynn. Base hits, not miss, is what you are going for. Less risky,
I like that.
More consistent. It's basically my philosophy in life and picking up women long time ago. I believe in singles. Anyway, also plan 2 weeks out. So what you need to do is look at your roster. You got to understand there's only 6 teams in most leagues that are active right now. Half are gone. Plan 2 weeks out. Defenses 2 weeks out. Kickers 2 weeks out. Blair with a matchup. Let's say somebody's going up against Baltimore, right? And they're a wide receiver. You got to plan that out. So don't overthink it. Be confident. Ask for help. Start your studs. Less risky plays.
Yeah. And again, you're going to have some tough decisions to make. And me and John are available via Twitter. All right. If you want to throw us out there at host Chuck B. Go ahead.
Do you know my Twitter account? Do you even know it?
At JL_Chapman. Holla.
Holla.
Yeah, holla. And the thing is like, for instance, let's say you have a situation where you've got, Gurley, Christian McCaffrey, and Alex Collins. And Christian McCaffrey has got Minnesota this week. So that's a tough thing. And then obviously Gurley's got Billy, but you still play Gurley. He's a stud.
You play both those guys, especially with what's his name getting injured, Stewart. Play both of those because they have value in the passing game. That's so vital. Yeah.
Although it depends on who you have on your bench for McCaffrey. That's all I'll say is that it depends who you got, because
true story.
If you have somebody who's going to outpace him, you lean that way. That's just me.
I got you.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just throwing it out there. But anyways, man, it's going to be a great week. This is probably, to me, the best NFL week that there is in terms of matchups. So, stay tuned. Game of the week, Minnesota Vikings and Carolina Panthers, man. Just tell me kind of what are your expectations of that game?
So first off, right off the bat, it's an early game, and it's at Carolina, which is, that's fine. It's going to be good weather. Those are two very stingy defenses, okay? I do not want to start Cam Newton. I do not want to start Cam Newton. Again, I'll say that again. I stay away from that guy. Now, Devin Funchess, what do you do with him? Xavier Rhodes completely shut down Julio Jones to 2 catches. Is he going to do the same to Devin Funchess? I don't know. And the main reason why I say there's not a lot of other people to throw the ball to. Atlanta has this terrible thing where they always go away from Julio if it's a tough game. I don't understand why, but it's what they do. Devin Funchess, and about all that is there. I'm starting McCaffrey. I'm not starting the tight end Dixon. I'm not starting the tight end Greg Olsen. I probably would roll Funchess if I only have two better options. He would be my wide receiver. He'd be a flex play. That's at best. But if you have somebody more dependable, go with that. Now on the flip side, I don't like the Minnesota running backs, but if you got to roll with one, that's fine. I'm starting Thielen, but I am not starting Diggs. Diggs is way too up or down, and it just scares me. I don't believe in him, and I'm staying away.
Agreed.
Diggs
has been up and down all year. I mean, when he's on, he's like just crushing it, and then again, like you said though, but it depends on what's on your bench. So that's where you got to hit us up on Twitter if you got any questions, and definitely want to give you guys some help.
Oh man, go win your fantasy games. Let's win some playoffs and let us know about it, man. Hey. Moving on to the semifinals, so on and so forth. We want to hear from y'all. That's like our favorite thing. I don't know if you know this about this. I know y'all think we get paid thousands of dollars to do this, and that's the quality of this podcast. But we do this for fun. Like, we just enjoy it. And we're all about the fantasy community. And you can be honest. Hey, man, I lost my playoff matchup because I listened to your shitty advice. That might make me just as happy. So,
And can I say, too, real quick about full press coverage is that – so John, like you said earlier, is a part of the draft. They're draft on the website. And you guys just need to know something. Stay tuned because John has an addiction. And he has a problem. He could go to AA and just really substitute in draft coverage. And he could do all the same steps to recovery. And he wouldn't make it. He'd fail. Okay, he would not make it. And so his addiction. And then maybe, one day John will be a scout for an NFL team and we can say, I told you so,
I'd do it if I didn't have to travel. I bought my plane tickets to the NFL draft this week. So that is happening. We're going to be doing a podcast. Charles is coming down as well.
Woo!
We're going to be doing a podcast from the NFL draft with all kind of fantasy relevant everything and first round, second round picks and all that stuff. So a little tease for 6 months out.
And there is a potential that we could potentially interview somebody who may be a part of the draft. We'll see how that all goes.
Oh dang. It'll happen. If you believe it, you can make it happen, I think is the saying.
Dreams take wings. That's how I've always lived my life.
All right, guys. Thanks. Awesome week. Go win your fantasy matchup in the playoffs, and we will talk to you guys.
Laters on the men, Jay.
Peace. All right, you hit stop on Audacity. All right. Dude, I got to pee so bad. I'll be right back. Oh, I got to hit stop on the – there you go. I got to pee so bad for all you fantasy YouTubers out there. Shit.